So we just did a video grading the defense, and you should go check out that video as well. Now we're going to grade the offense, and I think the weapons are A plus. I don't think anything about the personnel can't be an A plus, but the scheme and the coaching side of that, Stefan, I'm going to let you go first here. Grade the offense, and yeah, just grade the offense.
I'd probably give it a B minus right now because it's in this weird in between of I don't know if they know that they can kind of cruise through this part of the season and experiment with things because Ryan Day was asked about either the notion of you ran for less than 3 yards per game at Illinois, but do you feel like you're trying to not establish a run in terms like in that game, but like establish your running game as in its totality right now, so that when you get to the latter part of the season, you know what you've got there, you know what's popping, you know what's not working. So I wonder, I just struggle to figure out exactly how much of this kind of unexpected approach on offense is a result of them trying new things versus them thinking that this is what their identity should be and that's what they're going to rely on. I go back and forth on that. I know we talked about it after the Illinois game a ton on Buckeye Talk. Just it's unclear if Ohio State thinks its identity is 12 or 13 personnel and running the ball, then that's the scary thing. But if they're running those plays and those sets because they want to see what they got, what works, what doesn't work, so that when you get to the postseason, you kind of know what you want to throw into the mix and what you want to throw out of your playbook, then I understand it because their defense is good enough and they're that much better than their opponents that they can kind of tweak things, work some things out. I don't think we're going to see a ton of I formation from the 25-yard line from this team in the playoff. But they're working with it now, right? And I don't know, maybe they just don't want to only save it for when they're at the 2-yard line to work it, right? You give yourself other opportunities to work it and see what you got. So I think I go with a B minus just because I don't know if it's quite average or below average because they're putting up impressive numbers and they are scoring touchdowns like that. They are very efficient, like you said. So I don't want to, quite put them in average, but I don't want to give them, an A or something like that just because there are some question marks and some flaws. And also we can't pretend like the running game is perfect, right? Like there are struggles in the running game which do concern me a little bit. I do think as good as the weapons are on this team, it would be nice to have somewhat of a running game. I think you could maybe establish the pass and then go to that running game. But I do think there has to be some element of a running game to this offense, and I think that's what they're kind of working through right now. So for me, it kind of feels like a B minus just because I'm not entirely sure what to make of the unit yet.
Graded, Andrew.
Yeah, I was kind of in that same category. I'll say slightly lower and say C+. I think I'm kind of maybe weighting the talent that we're talking about offensively here. Like, you have the best receiver in the country in Jeremiah Smith. And then, frankly, I think you have the second best receiver in the country in Carnell Tate. Like, I think you have the wide receiver 1 in 26, the wide receiver 1 in 27, and Jeremiah Smith's not lead blocking. Jeremiah Smith's not doing a lot of other stuff, but you should be able to run the ball because of those guys' magnetism, right? Like, you should be able to run the ball because of what those guys do offensively. You should be able to have more red zone success than you have. You should be opening it up a little bit more. So, yeah, there are concerns, I think. You worry about the red zone, like I said. You worry about situational spots where, what if you get in a team with, or a team that, kind of likes to, go up tempo and you play a shootout. And we've mentioned this before. You're driving a Jaguar and you're trying to, put that thing into next gear. And what if it misfires the first time you do it? What if you lag the first time you try to do it? Even if it's not a game lag, what if it's just, it takes you a drive or two to kind of get going and get into full speed? That might lose you a game. So, I think the plan has been maybe by design, like a B minus plan. I think they've maybe designed this. Like, the example that I was thinking of when I was driving all over the place this weekend was, have you ever gone out to dinner and you try something adventurous and you try something new and you're like, you know what? I've never had this before. I'm going to see if it works. And if it doesn't, well, I've got a frozen pizza back at home. I can go make food back at home. I've got leftovers back at home. I've got this back at home. You can go home and rely on something, but you're like, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to try this thing I've never tried before. I hope it's good. And if it works out, all of a sudden I just had a great dinner and now I've got food back at home if I want it. I've got this whole plethora of options, but I know I have that back at home. And I wonder if Ohio State is looking at this going like, we have 12 games to figure out and make ourselves as well-rounded as possible. And once we get to the 13th game and the 14th game and so on, we can just go back to what we've got. We can just go back to what we know and what we've been doing. And I wonder what the limit is of that, though. So I'm in a C+ because there are warts with this team, but I do think this team is purposely kind of keeping their grade a little bit lower, maybe a little bit more than I thought they would.
How many frozen pizzas are in your home right now?
0.
How many are typically in your home?
Like 1.
Okay. I was expecting a larger answer than that because you went with pizza.
You always gotta have a reserve. Sometimes you gotta go to the bullpen.
I get it.
Yeah, you need a bullpen arm. Yeah.
What's your go-to frozen pizza?
I like Red Baron.
It's not bad.
Yeah, that's the right answer. Yeah. I thought
Run the ball.
I thought that analogy was actually really good because I'm like, yeah, you get to the first round of the playoff and Jeremiah Smith's the frozen pizza, I guess. Sure.
Red Baron of receivers, some are saying.
I'm just hungry now. That's all the problem.
The Scarlet Baron.
No,
I tried.
So, Brian Day had a quote. Get the text, 614-350-3315. I'm going to read the quote I sent to our texters. Now that we have 6 games of information, we're starting to figure out what our guys do well. That man just admitted to us in front of a podium that they spent 6 weeks tinkering with their offense. Yep. I mean, I don't think they're done tinkering. They're going to do some more tinkering on Saturday. I can guarantee you that. In fact, the Penn State game has turned into a tinker game instead of a big game, to the point that I don't even know if Big Noon Kickoff is going to come to Ohio Stadium anymore because it might not be worth it. You know what I haven't done in a while? Set rules for you two and then broke them. So it's time to do that. Incomplete grade. Mainly because I think the first 6 weeks were get through Texas game and then figure out what we are, because our defense is so good that we can do that. And you're right. They can go eat the pizza whenever they want to eat the pizza. But do we like Brussels sprouts? Do we like escargot?
No.
What about this glass of wine? Do we like this?
Probably.
You know? There's some ice cream over there. Do we like that flavor, though? Or do we want to stick with what we know?
Hell yeah. Ice cream.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Unless you have a defense that lets you jump in the water anyway. And I think this is what this has been. Seriously, I think the first 6 weeks of the season were about tinkering and figuring things out and make sure we beat Texas. And now the back end of the season, because of how the schedule has worked out, maybe you get to do a little bit more of that. But I do think they start to open things up, and that does not mean 40-yard bombs. It just means that Ryan Day said it. There are things that we needed to find out about this team, and we figured those things out about this team. Now, there are things that maybe we don't do well that are not acceptable. We have to do those things well, so we're going to continue to work through those things. I really hope I formation from the 26-yard line is not among those things, but new team that was trying to discover its identity, and I think the way Ryan Day talked on Tuesday, they have achieved that mission of figuring out what their identity is, and now I think you'll start to see them emphasize what those things are, both in the pass game and in the run game, and as a result, you'll see a complete team on offense and on defense. So that's why I say incomplete grade. If I have to stick to the rules, I'm with you guys, maybe a B- or a C+, but it's incomplete because that wasn't the goal, to get to the Wisconsin week and go, okay, now grade us. It was okay, we got through this, and now we can start to lean into what we are as a football team. Just like we lean into what we are as a podcast. If you go listen to Buckeye Talk and get the text 614-350-3315. Ice Cream Social episode coming soon. And we're going to do it live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Come join in on the phone. Steven, that's Stefan, that's Andrew. See you after the game on Saturday.